Welcome everybody to this video about how to learn the basic for multiplayer in Dawn of War Definitive Edition. The game released a couple days ago and I saw a lot of new players, so I was asking maybe they needed some good tutorials because a lot of the tutorials are from Soulstorm and maybe it need a little bit of update. Just to say, sorry, I'm French, my accent is not the best, I know. I'm gonna try to do the best to make myself understandable. And second, I'm not the best player. I played a lot of Soulstorm and I play some multiplayer. Sometimes I get stomped, sometimes not. But so yeah, I can do mistake, but for what I'm going to show you today, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be okay and it's gonna be viable online, so you don't have to worry. So this said, the first thing you want to have when you start Dawn of War multiplayer is to have a main faction. Which one? You're gonna say, whatever. Choose the faction you like. I know a lot of new players are Warhammer fan. Choose the faction you like in the lore or for the aesthetic, anything. You can choose which faction you want. I just strongly advise you to start with at least one campaign of Soulstorm to get used to the race you want to play. And if you really don't know and you just want something that is easy to get in, I strongly recommend Space Marines or Chaos. Mostly Chaos. It's too hard to explain why, but I think they are maybe a bit better than the Space Marines. Space Marine cost a lot and is quite slow to develop, but remember, you can play whatever. I put you a tier list of the easy and hardest, but don't block yourself because of it. It's not because Eldar and Orc are the most micromanagement. It's gonna be impossible for you. It's not at all. So I'm not going to go too much into the specific of each faction, but let's do a quick recap of what faction do what. Chaos is really polyvalent. You will have a lot of way of playing them differently. Dark Eldar are really strong early game, but really not good in late game. Eldar is everything about speed. You will have to eat and run. It's always about this. So it needs a lot of micromanagement. Imperial Guard are quite defensive faction, but you will have later in the game, like late game or mid game, some really good unit with a big damage. Necrons are really slow but really tanky and high damage. But yeah, they are slow. But they have a teleport to compensate with it. And it's also a really specific faction since it's only have energy and not requisition. Orc is all about aggression, harassment. You want to do some early harassment to block your enemy from doing anything else than defending his base. And it's all about keeping your enemy occupied while you do your things in your base. So it needs also, like the Eldar, a lot of micromanagement. Sister battles are all about their momentum in the mid game. They have one of the strongest mid game, but their early game is not that great and their late game is not that great. You need to make it decisive in the mid game. Space Marines, really polyvalent, not too squishy, not too tanky, good damage. They have a really strong late game, good mid game, and their early game is a bit slow maybe, I think. And finally the Tau, I don't know how you say in English, Tau maybe. It's about arranging your enemy, big damage, good late game, good mid game. So once you choose your race, your faction, you're gonna be into a lobby. I'm just gonna quickly explain how it works. So you're gonna have teams and players. So this I put computer because I'm in skirmish. So for the teams, auto teams will make the teams by place you have your player in. So since we have 2 team, it's gonna be this first 4 against this last 4. So, and if I change here, there are gonna be 3 teams, so it's gonna be a odd number, so it's gonna be bad. And if I do 4, it's gonna be 2, V2, V2, V2. This is gonna be because of auto team. If you wanted it random, you can choose random. Player set team, people online don't really like it because it's too messy. And free for all, everybody is against everybody. Now with the game option, AI difficulty, it's up to you if you want AI, and globally you can, this is the standard you want. Just resource sharing, it's up to you. Usually people don't want it, but if you're with your friend and you want to enable it, people can agree with it, it's fine. Here is the game rules, so the objective of the game, annihilate always. You're gonna need to destroy every enemy that is capable of making units. That's simple. Assassinate, nobody do it. Control area, quite shit. Destroy HQ, people rather annihilate. Economic victory, I don't even know what it is. Game timer, really important. It's just gonna add a timer to your game, and it's really good for timing. You like when you can get rush, you will know that it's about 1 minute 15 or 1 minute 30, and at 2 minutes you will encounter your enemy for sure. Take and hold, every map there will be a specific point, I think it's like critical location or something like this, I don't know the name, and it's always an odd number like 1, 3 or 5, and you need to control most of them. So if it's 1, if it's 3 you need to control at least 2, and if it's 5, 3. And it will launch a counter that at the end of the counter, I think it's like 6 or 9 minutes, I don't know, you win the game. It's to prevent people from camping too much their base. So now that we go through the faction and the game option, what you need to know is opening. Each faction have many openings, and it's vary in function of what you're playing against and the map. If you're playing against a really aggressive faction in early game, you're gonna need like an opening that will allow you to hold on the early game aggression, and like with Orc or Dark Eldar. But if you're playing against a Necron that don't have a really early game aggression, you can go with another type of opening that will allow you to take early control of the map or do yourself the early aggression. So there's many opening for each faction. Maybe I will do a video with each faction trying to explain couple of opening and how to play them more in details, but this you need to learn by heart some opening, at least 2, 3 is good. Next is the economy. For most of the faction, there's the blue, which is requisition, and the green, which is power. The blue is gonna be get by taking the strategic points and upgrading them with listening post. It's really important each time you take a strategic point to put a listening post on it, because otherwise it is not protected and your enemy can decap. What is cap and decap? Cap is taking the point and decap is removing the point. Also, putting a listening post will upgrade the resource you will be getting. For a standard point without listening post is 6. If you put a listening post is 12. So you increase your economy. And you need also to upgrade your listening post because it put a turret on it to give it basic defense, but also it increases even more your resource income. The requisition is really important in early game, but also during most of the game. If you ever see a point not protected by a listening post, you need to take it down by decapping. To capture a strategic point, I strongly advise you to use your capping unit. It's the unit that you get in your stronghold at the early of the game. The second resource really important is power, the green one. You get that by building energy. It's really important during mid-game and late game because it's mostly used by vehicles. Most of the openings start with 1 energy, but before you upgrade your stronghold you need to have more, because otherwise you will build your building for vehicle and you won't have the energy to make vehicles. Also, destroying them is a really good strategy because they will reduce the power of your enemy, but also they will have to pay it again, which costs requisition. For army building, don't fall into the trap to make more units. If you make too much unit, you won't be able to manage it and it will be a waste. I saw too many new players just spamming Imperial Wars hoping it will work. Spoiler, non, which means no in French. Focusing on 2 or 3 units at the early game, it's what is the best. Take the amount of units that you can manage in micro, otherwise it's a waste. Upgrading and tech. All factions can upgrade their units with upgrades. Most of the factions have a specific building for that. It's really important for certain upgrades to be done. The increased damage for Dark Reaper in Eldar, the rage for Chaos Marines, and the damage increase for Shooter Boys. What we call taking is focusing on your base. In Dawn of War, you're either focusing on your base taking or micromanaging your units. It's really important to manage those two without struggling. That's what will make you a great player. If you manage to keep the enemy occupied while you keep taking in your base, you're gonna win most of the time. One of the most important things about taking and upgrades in Dawn of War is that Dawn of War is divided into phases: early game, mid game, and late game. Usually, it's defined by your tech tier. You always start in tier 1, and by upgrading your HQ, you're gonna unlock tier 2, and then later tier 3. Each new tier unlocks new buildings, stronger units, and more research options. It's easy to know when you advance a tier because most factions use the HQ upgrades. However, some factions are different. For example, the Tau don't upgrade the HQ directly. Instead, tier 2 is reached by building Path of the Enlightenment. Tier 3 is reached by choosing between either the Koyon command post or the Monka command post. So learning each faction advance through the tier is crucial to understanding their strengths at each stage of the game. Expansion and map control. You should always search to have map control. It allows you to have more strategic points, more resources, and you will have most of the information of what's going on the map. If you keep your enemy stuck in his base, he's gonna have less resources than you. Now that we are finished with the basic gameplay loop, we're gonna talk about the basic of combat and tactic in Dawn of War. Number 1, unit and type and counters. In Dawn of War, units have different roles, like capping unit, infantry, heavy infantry, vehicle, and sometimes demons. You should always use the right unit against the right target. For example, do not waste Chaos Space Marines on vehicle. You should use instead like a Hell Talon that will do big damage to vehicle. Number 2, melee unit and range unit. New players often rely too much on melee unit, but melee damage only works if the enemy is forced to stand and fight. If they retreat, melee unit will deal very little damage. Range units, on the other hand, always deal consistent damage as long as they are firing. Focus on range unit for your main damage and use melee unit mainly to tie up enemy range squad, stopping them from shooting. Number 3, static defense, turrets and mine. A common beginner mistake is building too many turrets or mine. While they help in some situations, they are often a waste of resources. Turrets are immobile, easy to avoid, And every turret you build means fewer units to control the map. Enemy will notice that and take control of the map instead of you. For new player, I strongly recommend focusing on mobile first instead of static defense. Number 4. Speed and map presence. Speed is very important in Dawn of War. The faster you move across the map, the more presence you maintain everywhere. This is why transport vehicles like the Rhino are so valuable. They allow your unit to move quickly, and if your opponent doesn't have an anti-vehicle weapon, they will also provide extra protection. Number 5. Forward post. Always upgrade your forward listening post as soon as possible. A reinforced post with a turret can make the difference if your opponent tries to push into your territory. This is especially useful in early game when resources are limited and you don't have big army and big damage to building. Number 6. Detection and infiltrated unit. Every faction has infiltrated unit. That means you need detection. Each faction has at least 2 detectors, but most of the time 3. Learn which one your faction has and always keep a detector within your army. Otherwise, invisible enemy unit will harass you freely. But you can also use grenade launcher if you have some to counter them, but this will need micromanagement. Number 7. The cover system. The cover system is another key mechanic. Good cover is shown by a blue shield above your unit and reduce incoming damage. Neutral cover has no effect, while bad cover marked by a crossed blue shield make you take extra damage. Always position your squad in good cover when possible. Note that the Necrons are not affected by the cover system at all. Good cover will be fine in crater, and bad cover will be fine in water. Number 8. The moral system. Almost every infantry unit in Dawn of War has a moral bar. Morale can be broken if the squad takes heavy damage or they are hit by a special ability. For example, the Chaos Demon Prince has an ability that crush morale very quickly and make your unit flee. When the squad is broken, you will still have control on it, but they will be much weaker and often unable to fight effectively. Number 9. The tier 2 timing. Around the 6-minute marks, most players will take into tier 2. This is usually the point when vehicles start to appear on the battlefield. That means you must plan ahead and already have units capable of countering vehicles. If you wait until you actually see the enemy vehicles, it often be too late to respond effectively. And this is one of the things that will make you lose, not having the response of what your enemy is doing. So that's all for the basic you need to know for Dawn of War multiplayer. I didn't go too much into the details because otherwise I would have to speak for each faction. So that's why I'm thinking maybe doing some video about each faction to know how to play them, what are their opening, and how to counter them. So if you have a faction you would like to know more about, don't hesitate to put a comment. And if you enjoyed the videos, why not subscribe and like the videos? So that's all for me.